Howdy! Everyone, and welcome back to the Howdy Cast. I'm your host, Liv, and these are my three brain cells.
Haley, Kylie,
and Jackson.
And today we're talking about food irradiation. Today's podcast is going to be discussing, is it safe, the economic impacts of it, safety, everything. It's going to be great stuff. We're also going to have a discussion about if the United States should start using it on a widespread scale. So Jackson's going to start off with a little bit about the economic impacts of it.
Howdy, I'm Jackson, and welcome to the Howdy Cast. And today, I'll be talking about the economic impact of food irradiation. So, one of the biggest things that people may be worried about is, foodborne illnesses. Some people, might be allergic to some foods, and it costs a lot of money. But with foodborne illnesses, it, will save, a bunch of people's, expenses on it, because, it won't happen. They'll just be cured. No, that's not the right word, but Alright. So, and also there's in foods, sometimes pests, insects, bacteria, fungi, and other types of enzymes that could degrade or destroy food, get in the food. So, and make it so it's a waste and we're just wasting food. And so, but then food irradiation can completely stop that. It is actually found out that 1/3 to 1/4 of the world's food is lost to all the pests and insects, and food irradiation can actually save that. So I think it's a good thing if we do it. And another great thing that's for it is shelf life, because a lot of foods is left there in a bunch of supermarkets and people just don't pick it up, or it's just and you just have to throw it out because no one's buying it. And also sometimes people buy the food but then it just gets wasted because it's in the back of their fridge or whatever, and they just don't eat it. But then food irradiation makes it so food can last longer, makes shelf life last longer, which can actually in the end make the expense rates decrease of having to buy new foods that are not rotten, and you don't have to waste so much money on it. To install, operate, and monitor the food irradiation facilities, the cost of it is very substantial, but it is at a good kind of rate for it, so we can have a better future. And the cost of food irradiation plants is actually up to $3 million to $5 million. There's a varying between them, just because it could be a different kind of plant, how big it is, the size of it, each plant is different from the other. And for irradited foods, they might be more expensive at first, but then as all foods start to become irradiated, it will become a kind of a norm of it's just all foods are irritated, but it's for a good cause. And yeah, I think that's everything.
Awesome. Thank you, Jackson. So
You're welcome.
Kylie's going to talk about the public health and disease prevention.
There are around 48 million cases in America each year from foodborne illnesses. Common side effects are strep throat, tuberculosis, urinary tract infections. Some of them can't be treated, which may lead to serious problems. In red meats, there's harmful bacteria which could lead to Salmonella, E. coli, and in fruits and vegetables, there's many insects that could lead to these diseases also. Food irradiation would help kill harmful bacteria, which could help prevent many of those diseases. If those harmful bacteria could be killed with one simple process, why wouldn't America let that happen? It could help prevent the deaths of thousands of people in America each year, which would overall help everyone benefit. And then, since the 48 million people in the U.S. are sick, they have to go to the hospital, and hospital bills are very high, and that could overall help them economically if they didn't have that.
Awesome. So Haley's now going to discuss the public safety of it.
Yeah, okay, so it might sound scary to a lot of people to have your food be exposed to radiation, but it's actually very safe and it's an effective way to keep your food in your shelves for longer.
So, if you wanted to eat irradiated food and hope to grow another arm, sorry, you're out of luck.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. The USDA regulates this kind of food testing. There's actually an amendment, the Food Additives Amendment, that was added to the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act that allows for this type of food testing to be done. And though it's not guaranteed, the food radiation can prevent a lot of foodborne illnesses because it reduces or gets rid of completely bacteria and molds that can lead to a bunch of different kinds of sicknesses. So everything that is done is pre-regulated and it's always tested before use. And if you didn't know, the food that is irradiated has labels that might say treated by irradiation or treated with radiation, so you would always know what you're buying before you actually buy it. So it's very safe and effective, and higher dosage of radiation is feared, but it's always made sure and it's checked that it's okay. So you'd be fine, and it's very effective.
Awesome. So now I'm going to talk about the technology and the whole process of it. So the whole reason that food irradiation is a thing was the ultimate goal of to get rid of bacteria and molds that get people sick.
Can't speak.
Anyways, when microbes are present in the food that's irradiated, the energy from the radiation breaks the bonds in DNA molecules, causing defects in the genetic instructions. Now, we could go into the whole how the 3 different ways that are approved to irradiate food, but it's a long process and we don't want to bore you. But it's essentially like a large flashlight. The food does not ever come intact with direct radiation, but it's like a beam of radiation. So one of the another like reasons for irradiating food is to prevent foodborne illnesses. I just said that already, didn't I? All right, flag. Oh God. As everyone else said, there are many benefits to irradiating your food, like longer shelf life, less need for harmful pesticides, and overall just like less spoilage. The more food that we can conserve is the better. Less food will be wasted, more people will be fed, and in the future it could be definitely be used to, help world hunger and yeah. But here's the thing to know, food needs to be, I'm messing up a lot. Here's the thing to know, irradiated foods need to be stored, handled, and cooked in the same way as non-irradiated foods because they could still become contaminated with the disease-causing organisms after irradiation. It's like you just gotta follow the rules of basically preparing regular food. If not, you could still get sick. It's not a guaranteed way to get rid of all foodborne illnesses. So guys, should the United States start using food irradiation on a widespread scale? I think yes. I think it could really save a lot of food, and people could really, it would teach people to lessen the amount they spoil. If that made sense.
I also think we should, because it's a nice way to keep your food on your shelves and you won't have to throw it away when it's spoiled. And it's just, nice to have food that you can know is still safe, even though it's been tested different ways, and it helps prevent a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
I also agree, because it can help yourself, make sure that you're safe, and then it can also help you economically by the price, and you don't have to throw stuff away right away.
Yeah. I could see people disagreeing with this, like maybe they think like, what if my child gets sick or something because of this irradiated food? Like, sure, that can happen, but because like in the process of like irritating could like mess up, but like, it is safe. It is like safe most of the time. Like, I don't know percentage, but like it's safe like most of the time. So, and it's like healthier for our environment, and we're not like throwing like wastes into like oceans and like contaminating the environment and just making our earth like even a worse place as it is.
Yeah. If anything, what we need to remember is food irradiation can definitely help a lot, but it can also just concern people in general. It's not organic, surprise, surprise. But people, if they actually like researched it and they trusted it, they'll see like it's not any different from your regular food. Sure, there can be like some discoloration to the food, or just like it looking different, which might scare people, but it's still the same food. So there's nothing really to be concerned about.
Still tastes the same.
Still tastes the same. Still kind of looks the same. But it's literally like pasteurizing milk or pressure cooking food. They all do the same thing. All right, so I guess it's the end. We have come to the end of our podcast here. I'm Liv.
I'm Haley.
I'm Kylie.
I'm Liv. Wait, no, I'm Jackson.
And this is the end of the Howdy Cast.
Howdy!